can't hear the song, Greg.
You can't?
No. Nothing.
You didn't hear that?
Nope.
Either one of you guys didn't hear that? Huh. That's very odd. Wait, let me test something. No? You're not hearing it?
Nope.
Mm-mm.
What the fuck? Well, it's not that important. I can add it later. But that's weird. Do I have all my buttons hit? Now? No?
Nope. Greg, it's your hair, dude. You fucked everything up.
Still no?
Nope.
Hmm.
You just add it in later.
How many of the podcasts have you guys recorded through Zoom specifically?
Now, I don't even know. We got like 20, 30 through Zoom.
Sweet.
Yeah, a bunch, yeah. And for some reason, we're having fucking issues today, and I don't got one thing worked out and not that. So, Nick, definitely make sure you record on your end, please.
It's recording. It's been recording.
Oh, can you stop and then restart? You can't do that?
No, I don't think I can.
I'll take it out later.
All right.
Okay, so
You want to do like a clap to start it?
we're-
So you know the point. Listen, I work in the film industry. I know how to do this stuff.
well, we're recording, so we got that all on tape, so we're good.
All right.
Anyway.
Well, Greg fucked everything up along with his hair, and we didn't have the intro song that played. I'm your host. Welcome to the Mangina Dialogues. I am your host, Nick Scopes.
And I'm fucking the Greg. Well, I'm not fucking the Gregalicious. I am the Gregalicious.
And our guest today is Harry Moroz. What's up,
What
Harry?
up?
How are you,
Oh,
sir?
hanging out, chilling, enjoying the weather out here.
Where is out here?
I live in LA, so I'm out in Atwater Village. It's pretty nice.
Yeah, no, I know it. How are you spending your time?
Mainly work. Like I'm working, I don't know, 10 hours a day, 5 days a week. Then I'm also working on like private cartoons with my brother. He's like illustrating them and I'm putting together and writing and directing them. And then making bread today as well. You know,
Shit,
the
what kind of
basics.
bread?
Sourdough. My girl used to work in a bakery, so her bread
hell
making
yeah.
knowledge is like pretty high up there.
Yeah.
And it's been great.
That's pretty awesome. I'm very interested in the sourdough bread. One of my friend's daughters is going to school to be a pastry chef.
Ooh,
So as a little side business, yeah, right. She's been selling macarons out of her house, and I'm like, that's what I'm doing every Saturday. I go out for my drive and I pick up a couple bags worth, and I feel like it's my drugs. Gets me
It's
through.
very nice you're staying healthy in the quarantine.
Yeah, well, it's a healthy snack, isn't it? Depends on who you ask.
Yeah.
So what? So you're doing animation, but so let's talk about that. So your job, you work for one of the cartoon companies.
Yeah, so I work at Cartoon Network, but my show is part of HBO Max, like that new thing that's coming out. It's called Tig and Seek. I'm animatic editor on that, and it's my first animation job. I usually I've edited more live action stuff. Like I was on Mystery Science Theater and a lot of stuff from this company Abominable. So it's been a new world for me for sure.
And how did you get, like, what does that entail, being the animation editor?
Well, for animation, the process goes, sometimes you have writers on the show, other times you have like just an idea for what sort of episode is going on, and then storyboard artists draw like all the panels for what's going to be in the board. So it's all these different still images that outline what all the animation is going to be in the episode and what all the acting is going to be. So you can line that up with voices. So I take all the panels the storyboard artists do, and I put them together, add some motion if need be, put the voices down, sound effects, music, all that jazz. And I'm also doing these things called radio plays, which are you take the recorded voices from the actors first, and then you just like make essentially a radio theme show out of all the voices. So it like kind of gives atmosphere to what sort of stuff can get drawn.
Right. So then they take what you're working on as it's obviously not the final product. It goes then to the animators, and then you use what you've done to animate the show.
Right. So I essentially edit for timing and for feel and for like all the voice selects, and then animators take it. Ours are I don't even know what company they are outside of us, but they animate it, read it back, and then it goes to an online editor, and he like cuts that sort of stuff together.
Right. That's pretty friggin' interesting.
It is interesting. It's a big process, and it's weird seeing it go all over the place.
How long does that usually take you, man? It must be just so tedious.
I cut like an episode in the radio plays take me about 2 days to do. These are like 11-minute long things. A full episode would take me like 3 or 4 days to do, but I've been working on the show for like 2 years now, and it hasn't aired yet, so it's coming up pretty soon. Animation takes forever to come out.
Yeah. Wow. So when you started working on the show, was it known that it was going to go on the HBO Max platform, or?
I don't think so. We were with Cartoon Network at first, and then the merger happened when the show had already started.
Got it. So what other stuff have you worked on?
I gotta pull up my my resume and stuff, but I worked on
email it over.
Yeah. So I cut Mystery Science Theater the first season for Netflix, and I worked on this thing for Go 90 called Rideshare, which is like a Paul Scheer, Rob Hubel thing. And then I cut some episodes of the show for Rob Hubel on YouTube Red called "Do You Want to See a Dead Body?" which was it was really awesome. I wish like there were more people able to see it for what it came out to, because it was also like beautiful. I worked with this director Nick Jesinovic, and he did some really like pretty stuff on it. And I mean, the actors you get to work with are really cool. Like I was working with Randall Park and Alexandra Daddario, Ron Flenches. Wow. It was nuts doing that thing. Cool. And then I got my start with Children's Hospital right before that ended. Didn't get to edit any of the shows specifically, but like the trailers for it for the last season. And then I cut this thing for Michael Showalter that went on Adult Swim called Gills Vanderhoot, which is kind of a Dr. Phil plus Winnebago Man parody. So that's up on YouTube and stuff too.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's been fun.
Now, which came first? Were you in the animation and then got into stand-up, or was stand-up first?
I mean, I've been editing kind of my whole life, like comedy and editing kind of hand in hand, because I was making my own videos, growing up. You get a couple VCRs, you start cutting them together.
Yeah. Nice.
And then like through school and stuff, doing school projects, it's always like comedy things. So I guess I've been editing for longer, but professionally, it's been back and forth. I guess I started stand-up in Michigan, but very barely. Then moved out to LA and tried to get into the editing world out there. Didn't work out. Moved back to Michigan, got heavier into comedy, and then moved back to LA and got heavier into editing as well. So it's been, I don't know, kind of hand in hand for my entire life.
Gotcha. And now you're from Detroit.
Metro Detroit. I grew up on 8 Mile, but it's a long road.
So you're a gangster. So
I wouldn't say that. I couldn't say that.
How's your rapping?
I do have a couple of rap albums that came out when I was in college. It's
really
I used to rap a lot, and I'm still into it. I like it a lot, but I don't pursue it as like a career or anything.
Shit, I was actually just taking a stab. I didn't realize you actually did. Wow.
8 Mile, dude.
8 Mile, bro. It's a long road. I like what you said. You're like, yeah, I'm on 8 Mile, but it's a long road.
I'll admit it. Yeah.
Take out Eminem. Who are your rap influences?
Eminem was kind of, but like I was pretty against getting into him, just because one, he's from Michigan, two, like he was the white rapper and stuff. So I was like, I can't be all about this dude. It seems too weird. And also right. he wasn't rapping, or at least mainstream when I started getting into it. When I started getting into hip hop, it was mainly DMX. Not that that's my rap style at all, but like it's really tough.
Fucking wish it was.
Tough to follow.
Rough Riders.
Yeah, I mean I love the Rough Riders, and like watching Jen and Freestyle Friday was pretty sweet. Although like when he entered the Rough Riders, it was kind of the end of them. And Swiss Beats is dope, but my biggest rap influence is probably Redman, and I like Big Boy. I know most people like Andre 3000 from Outkast a lot. I'm partial to Big Boy for whatever reason. I think they're both dope, but Big Boy I like a little bit better. And then Tribe Called Quest is up there for me. And I guess I liked Busta Rhymes a lot growing up as well.
Yeah, dude. Busta Rhymes. Also, another thing too is remember his videos, like Busta Rhymes?
Yeah, man. Give me some words, like one of my favorite and they're crazy. I love the fisheye. I love the costumes. Put your hands where my eyes can see visually is like incredibly stimulating. Yeah, he's incredible. I love Busta.
Yeah. Oh my god. Now he's jacked. Have you seen him lately?
He's always been jacked.
Well, I mean,
there was a period of time where I wouldn't call him jacked.
Yeah. Chubby.
Yeah.
Now he's just beefy. Dude got big. So what led you into doing stand up?
I always wanted to, I guess. Like growing up, I had a hard time sleeping, so my parents put on like Bill Cosby albums, and shocker, those put me to sleep, you know. But I really got into it because it like. One, it was funny, and I just always loved being funny and funny stuff. I was really short growing up. Like when I was a senior in high school, I was 4'11", so like really tiny kid. Jesus and so like, Christ. Yeah, you're small. I'm 6 feet tall now, so it's no big deal. But like, hey, growth spurts, baby.
Damn, dude.
They work out, yeah. But like being short, I wanted to like stand out a little bit, and humor was like a great defense mechanism. And so like if you're short or if you're like a larger person or if there's like something visually different about you, I think it comes more easily to you because you have to have that sort of view of the world. So like I'd be listening to these stand-up albums all the time, and then I just started collecting a whole bunch of them and watching all the Comedy Central presents and stuff, and I was like, this is what I'm gonna do. My mom sent me this video of me when I was like 5 years old. I won some science contest. You know, when you're 5, what does that even mean? But I won this contest, and so this is won by Harry Moroz, and he says when he grows up he wants to be a stand-up, and I was 5, so I don't remember saying that, you know, but apparently it happened, so it's always been in there. And then after I got out of college, my life wasn't like in the best place, I think, and I stumbled upon this comedy club in Ann Arbor, Michigan, Ann Arbor Comedy Showcase, and they had a mic night there, so I researched it. I was like, I'm gonna give this a shot, and you know, you guys do stand up. Once you try it once, it's like it's there forever. So
yeah, that's wild, man.
Yeah.
And then now you're performing pretty regularly at the store, correct? Or what were?
Yeah, I wouldn't say now. Yeah, but like, I was at this. I perform like. I'm sure everybody from LA says this, but like kind of all over. There are a lot of like alt rooms. I guess I'm more on the alt room side of things just because I run a couple of shows or ran a couple of shows out here. One in downtown called Crane's Comedy, and then one in Glendale. It's an outdoor show called the Dirt Pit Lounge, which is better than I swear the name leads people to believe. Like what the people who ran that place were like, hey, my friends, they have this spot called the Dirt Pit Lounge. Do you want to run a show there? And I was like, no. I don't want to run shit at the dirt pit, but it looks really cool. I mean, these guys like set their backyard up to look real nice, and raccoons watch the show as well sometimes. So it's been a lot of fun.
Where is it in Glendale? Where is that in Glendale?
It's someone's house in their backyard.
But
they set up with like a stage and a bar, and they have like a sign built and some lights. It's outdoor shows in LA are pretty dope, and like this one's really really nice. I've been pleasantly surprised with it from the get-go.
So how many people like typically come to that show?
I mean, it depends because sometimes in the summer is great. You know, you get like 60 people out there sometimes, and it's like a small area. So 60 people in a small area is pretty great. Even like 30 people is really nice. And then in the winter, the numbers dip down considerably because I mean it's the desert. It gets really chilly out here. We had blankets and stuff for people, but like the last one, almost we had very few people show up for that last one. So I was like, we're just not doing these winter shows anymore.
Yeah, right. I'm just intrigued by doing that in actually someone's house as this ongoing. Like, what is it, a monthly or is it a weekly?
Yeah, it's monthly. And the dude whose house it is, he really wanted us to do it. You know, like I would never run a show out of my house. I don't want anyone knowing where I'm living. I mean, you guys can't even see what my apartment looks like. I got a room divider up, you know?
I was going to say, dude, I feel like someone's going to come out from behind there like they're changing. Like, they're just going to that's what it looks
Privacy is key, man. I've been very hesitant to do all the Zoom shows and stuff just because my home feels like a different sort of place. You know, when I'm out around town, I can be Harry the Performer, but when I'm here, I'm like watching Star Trek, Deep Space Nine, and baking bread, you know? It's just, it's a different world. So I don't know. I don't want to invite that into my life, but if other people want that, that's cool. And they're not the dude whose house it is. He's not like a comedian. He's just somebody that my film friends knew. Who he's like a guy who works in lighting on TV and films, and he wanted to run stuff out of his backyard.
Do they charge people to come in, or just sell like what do they? How do they? Does he do it to make money, or just to throw a party?
No, I mean we lose money on this every month, so
Right.
I think it's just for like the party and for the community, and it is a good time. It's pretty fun. Some people just like throwing parties, you know.
And like, what kind of comedians are you bringing out to do those shows?
I'm trying to think of like who some of the bigger names are. So like the one that I run downtown, we've gotten some bigger names for it. Like David Wayne's done it. Kyle Kinane's done it a bunch. Ali Wong, pretty much every comedian like in LA. And a lot of people from New York as well. If they're doing shows in the city, there's a good chance they've done Cranes.
Right.
And then for Dirt Pit, it's more of like the up and coming people who've done it. But like Brent Weinbach's one of the bigger names who's done that show. I guess I could pull up a list of what other people have, but it's nice. In LA and New York, there's so many comedians that people have never heard of who could easily be household names.
Yeah, for sure.
It's just is great. And I try to run shows not so much based on like, you guys have heard this person, so what a treat for you. You could see him. I mean, I love stand-up. I love hearing jokes and making people laugh and laughing myself. So like if I get people who are funny and you're there for the show, you're gonna have a good time. You're gonna laugh. I mean, most people who go to stand-up shows, they've either never been to a stand-up show or they don't know most comedy people. So who cares what the name is?
Yeah, right. What day of the week is it?
So Dirt Pits are on Saturday and Cranes were on Monday. So Cranes was Wednesday rather. Cranes was second Wednesday of the month, and Dirt Pit was whenever everyone was available for it.
Whenever the house was clean.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever
people weren't partying too hard. Because I mean, these dudes like go out to concerts and they rave it up a fair share or like go on trips and stuff. So who knows when it's available?
That's pretty fun.
Now, when did you end up going out to LA?
I moved out here in 2009 to pursue a modeling career.
Yeah,
it was going good in Michigan, but in Michigan, I mean, the competition's a little bit less, I would say.
You're like
LA.
a Ford model, like you were leaning on top of cars and shit. Like
I did do a little car stuff, but it was a lot of like there was some underwear and jean stuff, and then a lot of like art stuff that was going on. The art stuff is very strange.
I can imagine.
Super weird. And honestly, modeling in general it's a weird business, man, because like I mean, I have a bit about it, but like people think models are dumb, and it's like kind of true, but it's also like you're getting manipulated by compliments all the time, you know? Like people would be telling me that I got great bone structure, and I'd be like, yeah. And next thing I know, I'm like naked in front of like some trees with nothing but a broadsword in front of my dick, and I'm like, what magazine is this for again?
They're like Auto Trend.
Like what? And it also was never for a magazine. You know,
it was for a guy's ceiling.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Some guy's house. Yeah.
So it's like a weird business. And then in Los Angeles, competition was like way fiercer and also like way creepier. So I just like got out of it, and I also had like I had an in with this movie trailer company out here. And after a couple months, they hired me on. And then after a couple months, they fired me. And I was like, all right. So I don't know what I'll be doing for the most part. And that's when I started getting into stand-up more heavily because I didn't know what stand-up entailed. You know, I just went to an open mic once every couple months. I did open mics 3 times in Michigan. I was like, all right, I'm all set for LA. You know, no big deal. And then when I moved to LA, I was doing bringer shows. And that's what I thought stand-up was. I didn't know about like the open mic scene, indie-wise, I didn't know about Bad Slavo when I was out here, and the Comedy Bureau wasn't going on or anything yet. So that was my first stint out here, and then after about a year, I met my fiance. She moved out. She just visited out here. She was living in Michigan, still going to school. And after a week, I was like, you know, you're my girlfriend now. And she was like, I don't know about that. And I was like, well, Facebook knows about that because I just changed my status. You know? So we did the distance thing for a couple months, and it was just like too tough. And so she's like, I don't know if we should do this anymore. And I was like a bum out in LA, you know, like my car was a piece of shit. I crashed it a couple times, and it was like I didn't have a job at this point. I've been fired from this video game company I was working with. I was there for like, I don't know, a year, and I was terrible at it. It was a video game testing. How can you be bad at video game testing? Yeah. But it's what I was. And they fired me, and they told me they wanted to fire me after a couple of weeks, but I kept morale up too much, so they kept me around just to keep spirits up. So I got fired from that job, and I just didn't have anything going on. So I was like, I'll move back to Michigan, you know, for a year, hang out with my family. We'll live together. We'll see how this whole thing's going on. And then once you finish up school, we can move back to LA, you know, and try to pursue this comedy thing more. And she was down with it. So I just moved in with her after a pretty short period of time. Did comedy in Michigan for like a year, really hardcore. And then moved back to LA a year later. In that, it's been like, I guess 9 years at this point of my second stint in Los Angeles.
Does your girlfriend compliment you on your bone structure?
Sometimes she was more into it when she met me when I was still in my like modeling residual jacked stage. But now,
and now occasionally she'll float a picture by you, like, remember that bone structure?
She can still see bits and pieces, you know. There have been concessions made for like, I'll dress better, but I look worse.
That's fucking funny. I just found a whole bunch of pictures from, I don't know, a vacation me and my wife took. I don't even know how long ago, a long time ago. And I come in the kitchen, and there's a picture of her on the refrigerator in like, you know, a bathing suit from like, I don't know, it's like 15 years ago. And I'm like, what's this? And she's like, oh, I found it. I like the picture. I put it up. So I went and found a picture of me and put it up. And it was me in, you ever like go to Jamaica or Mexico or the islands, and they braid your hair and then put those fucking beads in your hair?
Oh, no. You did it? So, what is with you and hair, dude?
Look at his hair now, dude. Of course he did that shit.
So I found a fucking picture, of course, of me full-on braided hair. I put it on the fridge. I'm like, that's my remembrance. I'm like, that's what I want to take out of this.
Oh, that's so funny.
Now, you're out to LA, you're doing your thing, you're fucking keeping morale up at your job.
Yeah.
And then how'd you get into like the store? How did you get into the comedy?
So you guys had Brenton on the show? I know like Brenton recommended me for this. Yeah. So Brenton and I did our first open mic together. He's like the first comedian I ever met in Michigan. And when I don't know how long I've been doing stand-up before I met him, but I guess it was like the exact same time. And right off the gate, I was like, damn, this dude he's really funny. And you know, I thought it was really good, but you know, I wasn't too great. You look back at your old stand-up, it's like pretty bad stuff overall. But Brent won this competition in Michigan called Trip in LA. So we got this trip to Los Angeles, and he's supposed to have some hookups at the store, which he eventually got going on. And then he moved out to LA before I did. So he was working at the store. And so when I moved out to LA, I was hanging out with him for a little bit, and because he was the first person I knew out there. And so he was helping me get into the store, telling me to hang out. The store was like a very different place when I first moved out there. It had like a lot darker atmosphere. It wasn't as popular as it is right now. Right. But he'd been there for a minute. And honestly, like Brenton's been my big in with the Comedy Store stuff. He's been the guy who's like hooked me up with spots. And then I did roast battle stuff as well. I should have brought this up. The Sklar Brothers do our show at Crane's all the time. And those dudes are like the bomb.
That's awesome.
They're super great. And I think I met them through the store, actually doing like the roast battle when that was first going on. I don't really do that anymore. Nothing against it or anything. It just like it takes up so much of your brain. Like if you're writing roasts, like you think differently about comedy. So that got me doing some spots. And you know, it's just where you show your face, you keep getting funnier. People put you up on different shows. So,
do you like doing roasts?
You know, like when I was growing up, I was a bit of a bully, probably compensating a little bit for the height thing, a little Napoleon complex going on. So like, and plus with raps, you have rap battles and stuff. And I played basketball, and trash talking was a big part of basketball as well. So it kind of came naturally, I guess. So I do enjoy it a little bit, but it also brings out some pretty negative energy in me.
Oh, totally. Well. But I mean, having a rap background, it's I'm sure you did that while you were rapping, and
Sure.
merging the two of those together. It must have been more natural for you to do that than a guy that's just a stand-up comedian trying to acclimate to a roast.
I mean, I think so. I mean, music, comedy, and editing, all those things have like timing is a big key component to all of it, right? So like having timing from rap battles, to keep your stuff short and to the point. And like I think in roast battles, it's the same thing. You don't want you can have a long-winded joke, but for the most part, you want to get to what people are thinking or get to the point in your joke quick, so people don't have enough time to like figure it out or get like lost in this whole story. So I think that was helpful.
Yeah.
But I mean, I wasn't killer at battles or anything. I was 2-2. So
2-2. You got to do one more to see if you're up or down.
I'll round up.
I'll round up.
It's like the World Series.
Yeah, man. I mean, 500 in baseball is pretty damn good. I'll take it.
Yeah, for sure.
That's true.
So with all the stuff you're doing in like TV and animation, is this just a job to keep your days busy so you can do stand up at night, or is there like a next step in the TV career to trying to do your own show? Like
for sure. I've pitched shows, and I want to make movies. I want to make TV shows. I want to make cartoons. My big goal, I want to make a stand-up album for sure, which I intended to do this year. I was like planning out where I was going and stuff. And then,
really picked the wrong year, dude.
I know.
You know this is gonna happen.
Oh man, no, hindsight's 2020.
Literally.
But I couldn't. It's like I just didn't get that thing together. But I mean, that's been a goal of mine since I started doing stand-up, because like that's my favorite form of comedy recorded stuff. I prefer stand-up albums to specials, just because I probably have like an attachment to it from my past. And also I think like when you can't see what's going on, but you like close your eyes, it almost feels like you're an audience member a little bit, and you can like picture the whole thing together. When you're watching the special, it's more like it's being translated by the director, So you have the performer, and then you have the director, and the camera is translating what the performer's saying. So I think like something gets lost in there sometimes, or at least it's more difficult. So comedy albums like a goal of mine. Special, maybe it'd be nice, but who knows? But yeah, I'd love to have my own show. I think that'd be a lot of fun.
What kind of show? Like when you're developing stuff and pitching, are they what are they based on? Are they based on fictional stuff? Is it stuff based out of your comedy?
I don't have too much autobiographical stuff in there. The last show I was working on was about like a dog rescue place, and cool. So I was pitching that around. So I guess I do have like some personal history in that, but it's all like fictional,
right?
For the most part. And now that I'm working in the cartoon world and I'm getting like ideas for cartoons, there's like this movie idea about the music business that I and my little brother came up with, that we had written a script for, and now like it seems like it'd be a good like cartoon idea at this point. Right. So right now I'm just trying to develop some cartoon ideas, just because it seems like that's what people are looking for in this environment. And also like, that's where my direct connects are at the moment. So and why not? It's fun. Cartoons have like a huge influence on me growing up, like Ren and Stimpy and The Tick. So why not try to push it in that direction?
It's just, cartoon, like, better than anyone, how long the runway is on a cartoon show, from like pitch to where something is on.
It takes forever. Yeah.
It's such a long road.
Mm-hmm. And so like the thing about like when you're thinking about what sort of goals I want to have, I want to make funny things. I like making people laugh. Right. So when you think about that, and then you think about professionally, it's like, how are you going to make money? Because stand-up doesn't make a ton of money unless you're doing it all the time. Yeah. That's why I work this like day job, especially in LA. Like stand-up shows aren't paying anything anywhere. And if you want to do like animation, that pays better than stand-up, but not as good as like live action TV. And live action TV, if it's cable, doesn't pay as well as network. And then like you have movies as well, and movies is like a whole different market for money. Yeah. So when you're thinking about it, it's just, what idea do you have? Can you make it work? Do you have anybody that you connect with? And for me, the most important part is just having like some pretty serious creative control over a project, because I'm very adamant about my opinions. I mean, it's been good and bad for me in the editing world. I've lost some jobs because I've like argued with people about how I think things should be, but I've also like been promoted because of the way I think things should be. So
Right.
I just would like to have that sort of creative control over a project. So whatever that opens up avenues for me, I'm for.
Yeah. It's
you know, you guys, what are you guys intending to do?
I need to take a fucking nap.
Yeah.
Well, I haven't slept well in 2.5 months. There's no reason for it.
I was doing stand-up until this all hit, and I have a full-time job. Like my real job is I'm a personal trainer at Equinox. So, but that's it's right. But that's shut down too. So, yeah, the two things I really love doing, I can't do right now. So it's I was just talking with some other comics today, and we're talking about, you know, getting back on stage and how it's going to be so weird. And like, they're like, how is this going to be? Like, is it going to be like starting over again? Or is it going to, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know what to expect. I have no idea what to expect when this all comes back, if it comes back soon. Hopefully.
I mean, if the videos I've seen on Instagram are any indication of what's to come, it's going to be a lot of the same material from a lot of people. You know?
I refuse. That's the one thing, dude. I fucking refuse to talk about this or the quarantine or any of this. I just don't want to do it. I do not want to do it. Let's move on. I can't.
Well, I mean, it's gonna be tough because that's the whole life that everyone's had, and our whole job is to do commentary on the experiences of life for the most part. So I guess the real question is, how can you translate that into something new, and like what aspects of it can you explore that other people aren't maybe thinking about right away?
Yeah, it's gonna be very hard, you know, because it's, you know, everyone in the country has been in the same predicament. Like, go to your house and stay there. And if you're lucky, you can go for a walk on the beach or for a walk outside, or you go to Walmart, Target, or the supermarket. But it's the same thing for everybody. Like, everyone hasn't had 300 million different experiences for the most part. That everyone's been having the exact same experience. So I'm actually kind of psyched to see how people take that and turn it into comedy. Mm-hmm. I actually don't do stand-up, so I get to sit back and just watch and chuckle at the good stuff, and then and even harder probably at the bad stuff, which I'm looking forward to seeing as much as I am the smart stuff, because it's going to all be there. Because to your point, like, you have to talk about, you know, most people are going to talk about what's happened in the last, whatever it is, few months.
For sure. And when you really think about it, like, that's good for the audience because that means you and them have something to relate to.
Totally.
So why not speak their language, you know?
Yeah. I think if I was doing stand-up, I would want to be someone going early in the night than someone later in the night, just to play the odds that someone is going to do the jokes that I had planned to do.
Shit, I want to do that too, just so I can go to bed early, you know?
Yeah, exactly. That I didn't want to say that, but I'm glad you did, because yeah, me too. Like, I'm in LA a lot, so I go to the Comedy Store all the time. And, you know, I try to get to the early shows because I don't want to go to a show at 9, 10 o'clock and then know I'm going to have to get up at some point and leave when I want to see, you know, everybody that's on the lineup, especially towards the end, because that's when you get to see a lot of the newer people you're not knowledgeable of or exposed to normally.
Yeah, for sure. There's
fucking 2 o'clock in the morning. Like, 2 o'clock in the morning. Like, are you kidding?
That's a young person's game or a crazy person's game.
Yeah, totally.
I don't know.
It's not my game.
Yeah, fuck that. Even last night, I stayed up till 11. Now I'm like, all day.
I know, it's so wild. Because I used to like not go to bed until, you know, like 2, and now if I see 11 o'clock, I'm like, what has happened? This is a traumatic experience.
It's sad. How old are you, Harry?
34. Yeah, so
I'm not like 32. Crazy. Yeah, but still, man. Last night I like wanted to watch the Jordan documentary that's been on. Like, the episodes are out, and I forced myself to stay up till 11. And today I woke up and just felt like shit the whole day.
Hey, man, you got to play it to win it when you're watching those things. You got to think WWJD.
Have you exactly? Have you watched that? Have you? Watched
yeah, I was born in Chicago. Like, Jordan was like a huge deal for me growing up. And like I said, I was obsessed with basketball. I thought I was going pro, even though I was that little dude back in the day.
At 4'11".
Yeah, Spud Webb was a big deal for me. Muggsy Bogues was a big deal for me. And then
I played golf with Muggsy Bogues once.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, it was awesome.
He's what, 5'4"?
He was. I mean, I'm 5'9". He was. I think he's listed at 5'7", but I want to say he's not 5'7".
Yeah, there's no way.
I was playing in this golf tournament in the Bahamas, right? And it was an NBA like pro-am golf tournament. So I got paired in Muggsy Bogues as foursome, and he shows up. I'd have to send a picture for you to get it, but it was basically a head to toe Sunday church suit, right? Like not a t-shirt, not a sweater, a full-on blazer. Matching pants, matching shirt, like full-on everything matched. And he played in that the entire round of golf in the Bahamas in the summer.
That's insane. That's insane.
Best dressed golfer ever.
He's probably got a great deal on that suit,
I'm sure he did. It barely even it didn't wrinkle. It didn't even move. It was, I don't know what material that was made out of, but it looked like it could have been made out of like fucking glass. Like didn't even crease.
Oh, that's so crazy. I can't even imagine walking outside in a suit, let alone playing golf in a suit.
I have never owned one.
So I'm assuming you were a big Pistons fan as well.
So it's
oh boy,
it's complicated. I was a huge fan of like the championship Pistons in 2004. I love the Chauncey Billups, Rip Hamilton, Tayshaun Prince, Rasheed Wallace, Ben Wallace, that version of the Pistons. I'm not so into the bad boy Pistons because I don't love bully basketball all that much. I don't love like that era of basketball is like just different. I read this book about Rudy Tomjanovich and Kermit Washington, and I was like, I just don't know about like fighting and basketball. It just seems so weird, especially because I was a little guy playing basketball, so people would kick my ass playing rec stuff, and I wasn't so into it for the most part, and I like the grace that's involved. So bad boys wasn't my thing. I respect a lot of players in that team and stuff, but it took me a little while to get warmed up to the Pistons, but. Like again, that championship team in the aughts was absolutely incredible. One of my favorite teams of any sport.
Would you say that guys? I've always wondered this because they talk about that obviously in the Jordan doc. Like the Pistons beat the shit out of everybody, and they had the Jordan rules, and they were just literally you could do anything back then. They just beat the living shit out of them. Do you feel like guys are more skilled today than they were back then? Obviously Jordan's a freak of nature, but because you have to be a little bit more, you can't just fucking lay someone out anymore when they go to the basket. It's not happening as much.
It's hard to say because you can't really compare how people were playing back then because you have nothing to compare it to. I guess you can put two different eras next to each other and be like, oh, look at this move compared to like, look at this move. But that's built on, think about that quote that Kobe had in, I think, was it part 4 of the doc, where he's like, people compare me to Jordan, but I wouldn't, everything I am is plus Jordan, it's from Jordan. So like stuff evolves and changes. Yeah. But I don't know if the talent's like different or anything like that. And I mean, there's a lot more ways that you can research, and like there are more moves at people's disposal at this point in time. But like, I don't know, I can't compare people to like Pistol Pete Maravich. Plus, I never even saw that guy play live.
It's different though. Like that those earlier eras, I have a much different take on NBA. I was a Knicks season ticket holder for 10 years through the Pat Riley years, through the Jordan years. Right? So I'm a little older than you guys. Tell me about it. Yeah. So, but I also went to college in Boston during basically the Boston Pistons sort of rivalry, right? Mm-hmm. So I went from Boston to New York, and I saw. Then I was a big basketball fan, and I look at today. I don't even watch basketball anymore. I can't watch it because to me it's not even as competitive as a sport as it used to be, right? You used to have guys in the NBA who were nowhere near as athletic as half the other guys, right? I could, Bill Laimbeer, great example, like that. Yeah. He served a role for his team, and he was phenomenal at it. And that was a big part of why Detroit won and what he did to make other teams change the way they were going to play, right? Today, you basically have a run and gun and shoot. Like that's the way the game is played. There's no inside basketball anymore. It's all played from outside the line. So yeah, the skills are different, but lots of kids can go out and just start bombing threes. Mm-hmm. Right. A lot different to play an inside game that, I grew up watching and playing. And that's how Jordan, I think, benefited. If today you put Michael Jordan, someone with his skill level, in the games and they just played, there's probably 15 guys just like that in the league now. Right. Not to, I mean, I think Michael Jordan's the best basketball player ever to play the game, hands down. Right. I would argue anyone that against Kobe, what's his name? LeBron James. Like, I don't think you can compare like a guy who was able to take over a game the way he was at will. I mean, I was just looking at shit the other day, and when he came back after being retired, he scored 55 points on the Knicks. I was at that game. Right. I mean, that's incredible stuff.
And defensive skills. That's another thing. Defense is almost like, and Harry, obviously you chime in on this, like doesn't really happen anymore. Like I watched the Jordan doc, and I was young when this was happening, and I was aware of Michael Jordan, but like, you're not watching, and they're showing him knocking the ball out of Shaq's hand when he's trying to go to the rim, and you're thinking like, he's a superstar. Like you're not seeing Steph Curry go up to fucking like LeBron, like, what's up, motherfucker? Like, what, knocking the ball out of his hand. You don't see that shit.
Mm-hmm.
It was a much more badass game back in the 80s, 90s. It was a badass game. It was. I
mean, the emphasis of the three has really like changed it a whole bunch, and I think that's why we don't see defense the same way. It's not so much that people don't want to play defense. I just don't think that there's a knowledge of how to play defense against this right now, but I do think that will change. I think there are like trends up and down of the offense goes this way and everyone flows to it. And then once everyone flows to it, you learn how to practice against it and how to defend it. And like, I mean, you still have some defensive studs in the NBA. It's just a question of like where it goes down. I think you are kind of right about like low post ball doesn't happen so much anymore. I think it's because it slows the game down so much. And also like, I mean, I remember when I was growing up, every big man I was playing against just wanted to jack threes from the outside instead of playing down low, which was blowing my mind because I was so small. I was like,
that came from
post
Shaq.
Up on anybody. Yeah.
That came from Shaq. Like Shaq had, Shaq, I can't remember anyone, that was that big really coming down the court and being able to handle the ball the way he was able to handle the ball.
Yeah, and early Shaq was crazy. He was crazy. He was like an alien. It was nuts.
But then he also had a great outside shot. He couldn't hit a fucking foul shot, which blew my mind. But he was the guy to come down and not post up, but throw a three. And, when he hit them, you weren't that surprised.
Mm-hmm.
Like if Patrick Ewing came down the court, took a 3-pointer and it went in, I mean, all fucking hell would break loose.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, but that happened like the generation right afterward, right? Because you have players like Rasheed Wallace and Dirk Nowitzki all of a sudden, like 7 feet tall, able to hit threes. And like now that's
like Sabonis, I think, was the first big man that would come down and you could count on him for nailing threes from anywhere.
Absolutely. So like the game is different. And also people are shooting from way further out. People are shooting from like, the logo marks at this point. Yeah. So I think it'll change eventually. I don't know when, I don't really know how, but I have faith the defense will like pop back up again.
Right. I hope so, because that's, the whole no blood, no foul. Like it would be nice for some of that to come back.
Mm-hmm. And there's another thing I think that led to the detriment of defense is like there was this era of like it must have been like the late 2000s, I think, like the end of Paul Pierce's career, that time period where like people just be driving and there's a foul every time people are down the court, like nonstop, every play, foul. So like then people are like less likely to like try to swat somebody, or like defense is just set up to let people run in, or if you just like block people from coming in. I mean, like if you watch James Harden play right now, most of his points come from free throws, right? Like that's his whole game. So defense just has to find a way to change, and I hope it does, because I do love it. Like I said, the Pistons 0-14, my team, and they were holding teams to like 69 points, 70 points a game. Crazy.
Yeah, the same with the Knicks. The Knicks were a defensive basketball team when under Pat Riley, and then even Jeff Van Gundy, they played defense. It was defense first. It wasn't offense first. That's why they lost to Jordan.
I remember that was like when Ben Wallace. He's the big guy with the afro, right?
Yeah. I wouldn't call him big, but yeah, he's like 6'9" or something.
Yeah, I remember like him being jacked, and like that's when I first remembered like watching basketball and be like, this dude is huge.
He's
like,
insane.
Why? Like, and his strength level, like I think they said he bench press like mid 400s and something like that, and that's like shit you didn't hear of back then.
Mm-hmm.
He looked like you made him in a video. Like he's like a made up person. It makes you pay attention though. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I mean, he was a phenomenal icon in Detroit, especially because like he was defense. He had almost like no offense to his game whatsoever, and that fro was so iconic. And like they were a team of no superstars. stars. Yeah. So it was very fun.
Yeah.
So who's your team, Nick?
I mean, I haven't watched basketball couldn't even tell you, dude. I grew up watching the Knicks, and when I was a kid, like, you know, in the early 90s. So like I had a Patrick Ewing jersey, I had a John Starks jersey, all that shit. And then eventually I just kind of got like, it was probably after Detroit, like once that big dude went away, I didn't really pay attention to basketball for years.
Mm-hmm.
And then now with this doc coming out, I was like, oh, this is like, maybe I should start watching a little bit more, but it's a different game. So I don't know.
I kind of fell out of it in like the early 2010s. And then when the Warriors started, when I saw Steph Curry as a Dayton Flyer, I was like, this kid is crazy. And then when I was like kind of interested to see how he'd play in the NBA, and now I really do think the NBA is a lot of fun to watch because there are a lot of crazy skilled players, a lot of athletic freaks. You watch Giannis Antetokounmpo play, it's nutty. And then I went to a Clippers game earlier this year before the lockdown happened, and watching Kawhi Leonard play and Paul George play is insane. Paul George is like oil. It's wild watching a person as big as he is move as fluidly as he can. And Kawhi almost has like a force field around him. He's like so sturdy that people can't defend him properly. It's I've never seen anything like it as far as offense goes. So I think there are a lot of interesting things to look for in the NBA, and it is a different game, but like I just want to accept it and enjoy it because I mean basketball, it was my whole life growing up. So I want to keep enjoying it as much as possible.
Yeah, I was more of a football guy and like still am growing up. Were you a Lions fan at all or no?
I still am. My buddy is the managing editor of Pride of Detroit, which is the SB Nation Lions team page. And it's been, you know, if you're a Lions fan, you just have to accept that they're a terrible team. you have to. I take it. The saving grace for the Lions is that as bad as they are entertaining every game. They find the most incredible way to lose, like the most shocking moments, the most mind-boggling giveaways to happen. So as far as an entertainment value goes, they're king. I'll accept that. It'd be nice if they won a playoff game.
They had some good years though.
They had
sporadic.
I don't know what you could say about like good. Like in the early 90s, they won a playoff game, and outside of that, they've been to the playoffs twice, I think.
Well, right, but you had obviously Barry Sanders,
absolutely.
Right? Probably. I mean, I don't know a better running back in my
best running back of all time
lifetime that I've ever seen play. Right, so that's pretty awesome to have that guy on your team, to watch him, 8 games a year, because obviously not going to playoffs. So
yeah.
8 games, you got him, right? And then they drafted the quarterback. What's his name?
Matthew Stafford. Who
right.
He's had such a crazy, tumultuous career because I wasn't even like a believer in him for the first 5 years, and then lately I've been so high on his horse. It's nuts because the dude has a wild arm. He's a fierce competitor. He's so much better than I think he's given credit for.
But he great. I mean, I think he's a great quarterback, and had some decent success with the team. I mean,
in every stat but wins. Yeah,
you're not the Browns.
That's super true. I'm very happy we're not the Browns. We're not a dumpster fire. I hate that we're an 0-16 team. I hate that we're an 0-16 team before the Browns were. And we had Calvin Johnson too. So it's not we've been shy of amazing players. It's just we had the Matt Millen era, which was so disappointing. To have so many top like 10 draft picks be busts. It's just a nightmare. And I would love for Stafford to win a playoff game, for this team to be good. And the last 2 years have been miserable because we had so much hope after being a playoff team before that, 3 out of 4 previous years, or whatever, 2 of the 3 previous years. I can't exactly remember. So it's just tough because you can't get your hopes up for it. Last year I ate into the Kool-Aid. I was like, or drank the Kool-Aid. I was like, it's going to be wonderful. And then you win 3 games and we're picking 3rd in the draft this year. So what are we going to do? And then on top of that, like the Matt Patricia stuff is he rubs people the wrong way. Like we've traded away and released 3 of my favorite players in Golden Tate, who's my favorite receiver, even during the Calvin Johnson era. Traded away Quandre Diggs, who was like a pretty good safety for us. And then we just got rid of our best defensive player, Darius Slay, this year because him and the coaches didn't get along. And because of money on top of that, so it's hard to get behind the team, even though like the city roots for him, the city wants him. And that's the other thing is like, there's this mentality in Detroit about the Lions. And it's the same old Lions, SOL, that they always blow it every year. And so like fans are like, oh, they're going to suck. So the mentality is so down, which is why I love Pride of Detroit as a website, because my buddy, like, even though he's not like a Kool-Aid drinker or like a firm believer in life, he at least strays away from that. It's like the Lions could be this, they could do this. Here's some stuff they're doing right. Here's some stuff they're doing wrong. So I want to see the mentality about the team change. But in order for that to happen, you got to win some fucking games,
Yeah. No, it's true. Plus, you forgot the beast on the defense, Sue, that they let go away.
Well, if I don't know if you can let him go away when Miami paid him that crazy amount of money. Well, I'm happy we didn't pay him that contract.
Yeah, I guess that's true. But
he's good. He's such a dick, though. The guy is just such a dirty, shitty player. Like, I hate
it's hard. He is hard to defend as staunchly as I defended him while he was here. I was like, oh, it's all misunderstanding, But like
he didn't need to shot block that guy.
I get it. Football is a violent sport, and those guys are some of the biggest freaks on planet Earth, and they're just competitive and angry and all this shit. But like, dude, there's a little bit of etiquette. Like, don't try to break a guy's like that when he stomped on the Packers offensive lineman's arm.
Yeah, that part's not cool. For sure. That's I'll say that on record, for sure, dirty play. But like him and Rasheed Wallace had the same sort of image about them, which was that people were very quick to give them text or personal fouls, right? Like Rasheed say anything, technical foul. The dude was like getting suspended from games. And there were a couple plays that Sue did. There's a play where he like pushed Jay Cutler from the back that he got a personal foul from. And I'm like, he's just pushing him to the ground on a run. That I don't even understand how that's a personal foul. But you build up a rep like that, you're gonna get those calls.
Yeah, that's how like like when Michael Vick gets fucking murdered, like gets sacked. Nothing ever happens, but there's a chance if it happens to Tom Brady, there's gonna be a flag thrown if they hit him the wrong way.
You can simply sum that up by if a black quarterback gets hit, nothing happens. Just look at Cam Newton. The dude was murdered, absolutely murdered. He probably got his career ruined because refs weren't calling stuff in his favor the way they call it for Tom Brady.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
It's just and Cam Newton's. I mean, that dude's no bitch. He's 6'6". He's 250, 260.
He's huge. Yeah, he's a big dude, and like
that's an accurate statement.
He was putting himself out in like those positions as well, but that's his game, and like the rules are supposed to protect you a little bit. But man, the NFL has a real racism problem. Granted, the world has a real racism problem, but in the NFL, it's
dude, like even I just said Vic because that's a guy who gets. I mean, he runs a lot, so he gets killed. But like even Eli Manning, who is not or was not. I'm a Giants fan. He was not a runner.
I'm sorry,
he would get sacked and like wasn't a big deal. But Tom Brady again, there's like this Brady rule that any little thing was this is going to be a penalty, and you could call it. You could watch games and be like, that guy got pushed into him, but watch, this is going to be a personal foul or something.
Oh, for sure. I have no time. And like as a Detroit fan, we dealt with Aaron Rodgers getting a lot of those calls on the Packers as well. It's miserable, favoritism and all that jazz. It's
It's funny. Like I totally hear what you guys are saying. I am not a Patriots fan. I'm not a Packers fan. I'm not a Cowboys fan. I too am a Giants fan. But I think and I was obviously a Knicks fan. We talked about it. Mm-hmm. And there was that whole thing during the Knicks Bulls era that Jordan got every foul, right? Like you touched Jordan, like you whiffed his jersey and there was a foul. I think a lot of that is just fans being fans.
For sure. 100%.
Right? And not very deserved. Clearly there's always going to be some level of something to that when the star player gets a little bit of extra, give, if you will, from the refs one way or the other. But on the whole, I think it's a lot of nothing. I think that, it's probably 20% warranted, 80% just fans being fans. And you look at it from like I go back and I look at I watch some of the footage of the games that I've been to and was like, holy shit, I can't believe they didn't call that a foul. And then I watched the Charles Smith under the hoop, when he missed 5 different chances at dropping the ball in the bucket to win the game. And you're like, you know what? There probably wasn't 4 fouls on that play, but I was there sitting right there 40 feet from it, and I'm fucking losing my mind for 10 years that Charles Smith was fouled
because you so desperately
want him to get fouled and then get free throws and then win the game. But he didn't get fouled, or not not 4 out of 4 times. So I don't know. I look at that with a grain of salt a lot of times. Like, it's just fans being fans. I fucking hate Tom Brady as much as the next guy that has to live in Connecticut and hear and like.
Well, now he's in fucking Tampa Bay, and that's gonna be
Let's go Tampa Bay. Yeah, first one to buy a jersey to watch him beat the Patriots.
I got to give him credit. This going to Tampa Bay is like such a smart move for the end of your career. Just make as much money as possible on your last contract in a state that won't tax you for it, and like who cares how much success your team has? It doesn't matter in the least bit.
It's not even the money that he's gonna make being in Tampa Bay for 2 years, right? Granted, it's nice to pay as little taxes as you can on that. Florida is probably the best state in the country to die in, right? So if he actually makes that his home,
probably where the most people die.
Right? Like,
I guess if your dream is to get eaten by an alligator, it's not a bad place to go. Or like,
listen, people with that kind of money, that's how they think. They think, what's the best state to die in? Eventually, when my estate gets hidden, dropped down to 100 different relatives of just luncheon somewhere. Like that stuff makes a big difference to those guys, and that's why they all fucking live in Florida. Like the amount of athletes that live in Florida is insane, crazy. Anyway,
they should move back. They should move to Detroit. That's my mentality.
Downtown Detroit,
revitalize the city.
Exactly, fucking put it on them.
I've heard there's a little bit of a resurgence in Detroit, right? Like a little.
I can't
gentrified.
I don't know if that's a resurgence or not. Because Detroit's a special case because the city's so massive. Like it was incredibly huge. So if you go there now, there are areas of it that look like a zombie wasteland for the most part. It's been like abandoned, burned down, and like it's nuts. But there are a lot of really nice places to it as well. But where the money's going, where the money's coming from, and how expensive parts are. Like apartments in downtown Detroit are crazy expensive. So it's a question of like who can afford to live in the city. And again, like when you say gentrification, is it pricing out people who should be living in the city, who have been in that city their whole life?
Wasn't there a big thing with the Red Wings owner that when they built when the state funded the Red Wings arena, that it was taxpayer money and that they were supposed to invest back into the community, and now it's all these years later and they haven't done shit?
Correct. That's the case with almost every stadium, right? It's like, we'll get the taxpayers to pay for it, even though these billionaires own it and could pay for it easily, and they reap all the profits. And then they agree to all these terms, and then they don't follow through on it, and there's no consequence whatsoever. Exactly. So it's really crappy. And I don't know what to do about it. My older brother's like big in politics in Michigan, and the political swing there actually went very left, and like pretty strongly female as well. So like, there's signs of progressiveness in Michigan, but Michigan went red last presidential election, so who really knows how everything's going? It's a state that's like kind of all over the place, and I hope it comes back. There's a lot of good things going on there. It just needs a lot of work as a whole.
Yeah, I feel you, man, dude. Harry, we're gonna end it here. Plug
on such a positive note.
Detroit. All right, Detroit sucks. Thank you very much.
No. It's fine. Detroit's a great city. I love a lot of Detroit.
I'm kidding. Everyone I know.
I like Detroit too. I really like. I've been to Detroit a lot, and I do like Detroit as a city.
I will say, like, the food there is amazing. The music and the arts there are really incredible. There's a lot of incredible stuff in Detroit. Highly recommend going and visiting.
One of my clients is from there, and now she lives here in Connecticut. She rocks Detroit shit all the time. Like, she worked at Ford. Like, she's all in. She loves it. That's
the thing about Michigan is, like, people from Michigan, even like we moved out to LA, but I guarantee it, we'll be back in Michigan at some point. People come back. It just like hooks you back in. There's something to it. It stays in your bones.
Yeah.
Well, Harry, let's wrap this shit up. It was, dude, honestly, thank you for taking time out of your day, because you're still working full time.
I'm gonna hop right back into the animatics as soon as I get off this call.
That's what I mean. So I want to say, just, thank you for taking time out of your day to talk to us. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah, thanks, dude. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for having me on. You guys were a blast to talk to, reminiscing about our bad sports teams. And
we didn't even talk about the Giants yet, but we'll do that next time.
I can't talk about it. Can't do it yet. But yeah,
you guys won 2 Super Bowls in our lifetime. That's not so bad.
4 in mine.
Okay, you had an extra 2. The big tuna, the big tuna ones. How can I forget?
Sorry.
Yeah. No, it was great, especially as I went to college in Massachusetts. So for them to beat the Patriots twice in the Super Bowl, I couldn't ask for a better thing. Like that was that was the best.
You guys were also in the finals in The Sixth Man, the Marlon Wayans basketball movie, the UMass Minutemen. So almost the championship there.
I didn't go to UMass, but okay.
Okay.
I went to Springfield where basketball was invented. So
home of the Simpsons. Perfect.
Yeah.
Exactly. How'd you know, dude?
Watch The Simpsons.
There's like 11 Springfields in the United States. I keep going here, but you know
there's a bunch. Yeah, because I kept looking up like which is the real Springfield, and I was like, whatever.
Like, Harry, plug all your shit: Instagram, YouTube, all that stuff.
Instagram and Twitter. I'm HRMOROZ. HR like home run. Moroz MOROZ like that. Follow me on that sort of stuff. On Twitch, I'm Willie_streaming. So if you're into the Fortnite, that's what I'm going to be when I get back into stand-up things. I'm going to be the Fortnite comedian. All my stuff, Fortnite related.
Oh boy.
It's a great era, man. It's been wild. And then Harry Moroz is my website. Go check that out. And then watch Tig and Seek on HBO Max when it comes out. It's going to be fun. It's I'm pretty into it. I'm pleased with how the show's going.
Sweet.
Beautiful.
Thank you very much for having me. Why don't you guys
thanks.
plug yourselves?
We plug ourselves enough.
All the time.
Okay.
We're plugging enough shit.
I appreciate the hair plugs. You guys let me get in here.
Dude, Harry, thanks so much, man. We will be in touch.
Thank you so much. Stay in touch.
Thanks.
Bye, guys. Nice talking to you.